Good morning. Today is Thursday, August 28th. This is Wake Up with KERA News, and I'm Andrew Garcia. Temperatures are going to reach the upper 90s today, and there's a small chance we'll see some thunderstorms this afternoon, and a even greater chance we'll see some more overnight, especially if you're in the Northeast. A new law intends to help first responders deal with the trauma of constantly witnessing and responding to tragedy. We'll hear more about it in just a second. Let's get into the news. Loose overhead power cables were the likely cause of the DART train fire in late July that injured passengers. KERA's Dylan Duke has more on the National Transportation Safety Board's initial report.
The NTSB's preliminary investigation found hangers supporting power cables over the train had become disconnected. An Orange Line train traveling north near downtown Dallas came into contact with the cables, creating an electrical arc that lasted several minutes and started a fire. 20 passengers were on board at the time and 11 sustained minor injuries, the board found. 3 were taken to hospitals for treatment. NTSB investigators will now review DART maintenance and train operator procedures. For KERA News, I'm Dylan Duke in Dallas.
Dozens of protesters gathered outside Esports Stadium Arlington yesterday to protest an Immigration and Customs Enforcement hiring expo. As KERA's James Hartley reports, their hope was to make folks think twice about applying.
Protesters chanted, booed, and lobbed insults at people walking into the Esports Stadium Wednesday. Tasha B. was one of the protesters there. She said the goal was to dissuade anyone who was going in from applying.
Yelling at these people who are entering this job fair, I am hoping that they see that this is not what their neighbors, their family members, their community members want, and think twice about accepting this as a job.
ICE told KERA it did not yet have the numbers of people who applied and who were hired on site. For KERA News, I'm James Hartley in Arlington.
In Texas, thousands of first responders took part in the rescue and recovery efforts around the state's historic July 4th floods. They represent just some of the many Texans who put their lives on the line every day to help people. Soon, Texas will have a new program designed to help first responders dealing with the trauma that comes from regularly witnessing tragedy. That's the idea behind House Bill 35. It goes into effect on September 1st. The Texas Newsroom's Blaze Gainey has more on the new law's goals and how the program will work.
The House Select Committee on Disaster Preparedness and Flooding will come to order. Clerk, call the roll.
In a packed meeting room in Kerrville back in July, dozens of people gathered to testify before lawmakers about their personal experiences of the devastating floods earlier that month, including first responders on the scene.
This hearing is going to be a little more emotional and a little harder.
Amid the dramatic testimony, San Antonio Fire Chief Valerie Frosto spoke more generally about the intense and emotional situations she and her colleagues see on the job, like an earlier flood where her crew rescued 10 people.
Was on scene the morning of, and the boat teams told their story, and they shared with me that they pulled off, the first road alongside the creek, and all they could hear were screams in the night.
In that flood, she said 13 of the people they were trying to save didn't make it. For most Texans, tragedies like this are once-in-a-lifetime events, but for first responders, it's day in and day out. That's something Representative Symphonia Thompson, a Houston Democrat, has long been aware of.
Like an emergency automobile accident, somebody get killed, mass shootings, all kinds of things like that happening.
Even before this summer's historic floods in Central Texas, Thompson was concerned about these workers' well-being.
I had raised issues on several occasions that we were not doing anything to elevate the support of our first responders' mental health.
So earlier this year, during the 89th legislative session, Thompson successfully pushed House Bill 35 to the governor's desk. It creates a peer support network for firefighters and emergency medical services personnel. Thompson says the measure will fill a void for fire and EMS workers in Texas. The state already has a similar program in place for law enforcement officers designed to provide mental health assistance. Early on, HB 35 drew support.
Texas has an opportunity to lead the nation in first responder well-being, and you can take that step by voting in support of House Bill 35.
That's Sean Hanna testifying in favor of the bill before legislators in April. He works with the Texas Meadows Mental Health Policy Institute. Over his career, Hanna's helped implement and operate similar peer support networks. These programs, he told lawmakers, literally save lives. He also helped build the state's network for law enforcement. In 2024, the program's first full year, Hanna said suicides by Texas law enforcement officers dropped.
We can use this same framework now to take care of our fire and EMS personnel.
Working alongside Hanna at Meadows is B.G. Wagner. She says the most important part of the framework set up in HB 35 is anonymity.
All healthcare services should be confidential. Your podiatrist appointments are confidential. So having a confidential network doesn't make it special. Anonymous access is what makes it special.
These peer network systems work sort of like catching an Uber ride. Participants can download an app onto their phone, request a peer to talk to when they need it, and then wait for a fellow participant to follow up and help. HB 35 goes into effect on September 1st, and the peer support network it creates for fire and EMS workers will launch in earnest in March of 2026. But Texas is also filling the gap until then, especially for the first responders involved in July's floods. Representative Symphonia Thompson says the state is allowing first responders to use the programs available for law enforcement officers so they could get help sooner.
That was the Texas Newsroom's Blaze Gainey reporting. The Rangers won their final game against the Los Angeles Angels last night. Their final score was a whopping 20 points to just 3, racking up 4 home runs. And the Wings, on the other hand, lost last night's game to the Connecticut Sun, 101-95. Catch Rooted Visions at the Irving Art Center. The exhibition features 25 self-taught artists exploring the stories of the Black communities in the American South. For more information and some other fun things to do, visit our Go See DFW calendar at kera.org/calendar. Thanks so much for listening to Wake Up with KERA News. I'm your host, Andrew Garcia. This show is produced by Shardae White with editing support from Bekah Morr. For more news in your inbox, visit kera.org/wakeup. That's where you can subscribe to the Wake Up with KERA News newsletter. You'll get a more in-depth look into the news with plenty of good morning vibes. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at KERATX. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow.